right off Highway 169. They're perfect for special gifts, corporate events, or even just yourself. Stop in today or order online at Nicolette'sMacarons.com.
Portions of the following program may be pre-recorded.
Broadcasting live on AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota, in the evenings in Chicago, CPT 820 Chicago's Progressive Talk, and in the nighttime hours in Seattle, 1150 AM, KKNW, and of course on BAM, Blue Amp Media at blueamp.co. That's blueamp.co on Substack. It is the Matt McNeil Show for your Friday. Good to have you with us here. 952-946-6205, 952-946-6205. Brett is here today. Hi, Brett. How are we?
Hey there. Doing all right. How about you?
I'm fine. It's been a little, I do you think it's a little lighter on the ice action in town today because all the Congress people are over in St. Paul today?
Yeah, very well could be. They are in town. I've heard there's quite a bit on the west side of the metro. They're having something.
There was something on Minnetonka, and then, of course, out in outstate Minnesota, there's been some stuff, and I'll get to all that stuff coming up here.
Well, they're going door to door in Monticello, I see, so that's fun.
They?
Yeah.
Great. Once again, if you don't want to be compared to the Nazis, well, maybe not emulate the Nazis to a T. If I can, just a suggestion. Just, kind of a suggestion. 952-946-6205. Joining us this hour, Nick Paro is kind enough to join us. This is the Sick of This. I cannot say the title of his Substack thing. I cannot. What I can say is it's kind of like crap. Okay, it's Sick of This blank. It's there. He's a liberal from the wilds of Arkansas, an Army veteran, an experienced software engineer, and somehow found himself as a poet and a podcaster. He loves doing what he's doing. It's one of the best things he's ever done. He's kind enough to join us today to talk about some of the net news going out there. Nick, welcome to the show. Thank you very much.
Matt, it's great to be here. Thanks for having me. And I can tell you my other publication's name, though, because that one is not radio explicit. It is Banner and Backbone Media, which Lawrence Winterman and I founded together, and it's a civics-based platform, reinvigorating and reigniting integrity, service, and ethics for the American ethos.
So it's Banner and Backbone Media.
Yes, sir.
Beautiful. There we go. I can say that one. The other one is Sick of This. I'll post that one. I'll post that on social media. Everyone can get to there. Nick, first of all, Army vet. I'm an Army vet myself.
Thank you for your service.
Thank you for your service, my friend. When were you in?
I was in from 13 to 17. Went over to Afghanistan in 14 for Enduring Freedom, and was a intel collector.
You are a zygote. I was 88 to 92. I was first Gulf War. I was 31 Charlie back then. I don't even think they use the norm. I'm not mistaken. They don't use those nomenclatures anymore. I was a rat rig operator way back in the day, and then it became a 46 Romeo, which was a radio broadcaster in the U.S. Army. And so,
oh, that's cool.
It all ended out the same in here in the end. You are, of course, in Arkansas, and just for everyone out there, because obviously I'm in Minneapolis, St. Paul, a liberal bastion. Here you are. I mean, you are in one of the prettiest states. Arkansas is absolutely gorgeous.
Oh, beautiful.
And you're down there, but you are grossly outnumbered by people who just seem to be voting against their best interest all the time.
Yes. There's no other answer other than yes on that. That being said, in the last general election, I'll say this for Arkansas because we are pretty awesome on this one, is we were one of the only states in the country where we, in the South at least, that flipped a House seat blue locally. We flipped a local state legislature seat blue for the first time in like 20 years, and it's continuing to grow in the state. So Democrats and more progressive-minded folks in Arkansas are here. We're here, and we're in larger numbers than most people think. And I think we're making a splash more than people realize.
Does, as a person who's there all the time, do you really feel as it's one of those things where things just have to get that bad for them to finally kind of be shaken and wake by reality that in Arkansas for 40 years, most of these people have blindly voted Republican and their lives are dramatically worse than they were 40 years ago?
Yes. Absolutely. You can see it too in the fact that Walmart owns a majority of the basically a majority of the area that I'm in Northwest Arkansas, and we have basically a corporate town. So it's really, and on top of that, they already have the highest amounts of wealth inequality based on like Social Security or like social services. We also have Dollar General, so we have the two highest like welfare queen companies in the world. Just own our area. And we're about to get hit with all of the ACA pullbacks and all the Medicare pullbacks and all of the food subsidy pullbacks. And a lot of these places can't afford it. We've already had closures in the state, statewide closures for SNAP Ed programs. We've had localized closures for other health programs and services that affected hundreds of children and thousands of parents. Like we're already feeling it, and it's going to take a lot before people really realize it.
And nothing goes over like a lead balloon more than telling this person who's working 80, 85 hours a week, you're not working hard enough. That's on you. That's why there is this, I think that reality is starting to hit Republicans. That's why there's this new, well, some people deserve to live. And that sort of mentality, you're starting to see that percolate as, maybe we can sell it this way. And they try it down in Texas for sure.
Oh, yeah, they definitely do. And one of the things that I noticed coming to Arkansas, because I'm not from Arkansas originally, I was in Washington State for almost a decade. And so coming from a slightly more liberal and progressive bastion in the world to where I'm at, you notice real quick the differences, though, in how people think about all of these things. Like Arkansas is very insulated on itself. Like you don't know if nobody was reporting on it, you wouldn't know anything had changed in America, in Arkansas. It's growing. There's construction. There's people living their lives. There's flock safety cameras going up everywhere and expanding throughout our cities and our towns. And there are people quietly being picked up by ICE and supported by ICE and sent to detention centers. We're one of the highest rates in the country, but we were one of the highest rates in the country. 4% of all ICE detentions were from us here in my county in Arkansas alone, if that tells you anything. And there's not even 1 million of us here. So it just doesn't feel different yet. And that's when it's going to change, is when it really feels different here locally and at home.
Obviously I'm kind of got a front row seat for this national nightmare here in the 20s.
Yeah.
How are you guys seeing it? How is it coming across when you're reading the news there? And obviously you have, you have some level of news, censorship. I mean, you kind of get a lot of right wing kind of skew, but how is the Minneapolis situation being covered down there?
I haven't seen a lot of local coverage for it, other than like standard stations, but it's not being covered in the same way as it would be, say, in Washington State. It's much more lean. Well, when I've seen things like on Newsbreak has a good segment of like local Arkansas news that can get collaborated or consolidated. Don't even hear about Minnesota. And if we do, it's from the wing of Renee Nicole Good did something wrong and Jonathan Ross did something right. And that's the slant. I've seen billboards in Oklahoma not too far from me that are for the Charlie Kirk billboards. So we're in that type of neighborhood where it's always going to be that pro, or right now it's going to be that pro ICE and pro Gestapo feel towards what's going on. So that being said, some areas it's going to be much more progressive. Like Fayetteville, Arkansas is going to be much more progressive than, say, the outskirts of Little Rock, Arkansas, where there was a neo-Nazi rally a couple weeks ago. I think like the Blood Tribe or something came out and did a rally in Little Rock. We also have the home of some of the KKK in the South. And sundown towns still in Arkansas. So things are not as progressive in all the areas, but my bastion is a little bit, I feel safe, but I'm also white. So I have a distinct difference.
you still have sundown towns, and for everyone out there who might not know, sundown towns were basically, if black people could be there, minorities could be in the town until sundown, and that's when they had to get home, so that the people could still have their daytime servants at their house, but those people had to be gone, or actually have a white person to vouch for them to be able to be in town at that point. You still have those in Arkansas?
Yep. Yeah, northeast Arkansas, some of the areas out there, there are some very white enclaves. There's some neo-Nazi groups that home themselves out there. Just north and in the Missouri areas, there's also some of the other neo-Nazi enclaves. That's two of the areas where they're trying to build the white-only towns and the white-only communities that cater specifically to racists and folks that just want to be next to white people, and the neo-Nazi community.
To a point, I don't mind that, just because we can keep them in there.
Yeah, that's the thing, is like, I don't know if I should be upset that they're gathering themselves. Like, thanks, you're outing yourself. That makes it easier for me to know not to go near you. And like, I know people, or I see people around me who have the blacked out US flag flying out.
Yeah.
The one that is right behind me, just all blacked out. That means give no quarter. And to me, when I see those flags, I see my children should not go near this house.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's kind of one of those things I want to say to these people. You know what you need to build? Some barbed wire fencing around it to keep you safe. Yes, you safe in there. Put up a big fence. Yes.
Yeah. Make sure the barbed wire wraps inwards too, over on your sides, because then it's harder for us to get out.
Yeah.
And then your kids can't climb over, because I know you don't want your kids near those Uber blacks. Certainly not those Uber blacks. Did you see that Theo Vaughn interview?
No, I did not.
Oh my gosh, there was a Theo Vaughn interview the other day where he was with a comedian. I don't remember his name. They made a joke about Uber, and it was, "Oh, so did you ride in an Uber black?" And his response was, "Certainly not a white, certainly an Uber white." I was like, wow, dude. Like, they're not even hiding that stuff.
They're emboldened right now. That's what they are. They're emboldened right now. Let's take a quick break here. Joining me for this first half hour here is Nick Paro. Once again, it's the Banner and Backbone media site on Substack, as well as Sick of This, and once again, paraphrasing the last word, crap. Site as well. You can find both of those. I will make sure I post to those a little bit later on. Also want to remind you, Michael Broadcorp is going to join us coming up in the next hour as well. 952-946-6205, 952-946-6205. It is the Matt McNeil Show.
Hey, it's Beth from Big Hill Books. Yes, the happiest bookstore in the Twin Cities. When the world feels too serious, we say grab a book, pet a cat, and let Gigi the shop dog remind you joy still exists. Because reading and smiling are both acts of resistance. Find us at 405 Penn Avenue South in the lovely Bryn Mawr neighborhood. Or visit bighillbooks.com. Be sure to say hello and tell the gang you heard about us on AM 950.
Theater in the Round Players is kicking off the year with a beautiful new production of How to Catch Creation. It's a soulful drama centered on the powerful legacy of a Black feminist writer from the 1960s. Her story reaches across time, weaving together the lives of 4 artists searching for art, family, and a place to belong. You'll be captivated by this profound exploration of identity. Experience How to Catch Creation at Theater in the Round, January 16th through February 8th. Tickets at theaterintheround.org.
This is Chad, owner of AM 950. I've been telling you about my friends at Snap Construction, who are arguably the most well-reviewed exterior construction company in the metro. Don't just take my word for it. Take a look at all their reviews online. Winter is the most cost-effective time of the year to complete your construction project. A majority of Minnesotans choose to have their work completed on their home in the summer when they should be enjoying the weather. As a result, the demand for labor in the summer is much higher. The most cost-effective way to improve or restore your home is in the winter due to the lower demand. Right now, Snap Construction is offering an additional 30% off of labor to the AM 950 listeners on your next construction project between now and the end of February. Call 612-333-SNAP and mention AM950 for an additional 30% off. As always, Snap Construction stands by their work with a lifetime craftsmanship warranty. Don't wait to get a free estimate by calling 612-333-SNAP or find them online at snapconstruction.com. Financing options available.
This is Kelsey Alto, your host of Twin Cities Pride Amplified, inviting you to join us this Saturday at 3 p.m. as we talk about the latest attacks on our community and neighbors and the death of one of our own, Renee Nicole Good. We'll talk about how we are looking out for one another and how you can help. That's this Saturday at 3 p.m. right here on AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota.
At Schroman Law, we provide more than just legal documents. We walk alongside our clients to ensure their wishes and legacies are being honored with every choice. And we do this while recognizing that this process can be emotional and weighty. Our team includes attorneys, as well as a grief coach and a published writer ready to assist with legacy letters and extra wishes to go alongside your healthcare directive. Contact us today to learn more at schromenlaw.com. That's SCHROMEN law.com.
It is the Matt McNeil Show. Joining me right now is Nick Paro. Once again, Banner and Backbone Media, as well as Sick of This. You can get the word. That's on the Substack page as well. The governor of California just came on out and really trashed the Trump administration for what's going on here in Minneapolis. He's pulled back as of right now. As a matter of fact, this is kind of a bit breaking news about an hour ago. He is now saying that he's not thinking of bringing in the Insurrection Act. There's a lot of people within the Republican administration that felt like, okay, you really want the ICE, the plummeting numbers for ICE and this immigration policy to get worse to do that. You know, is this one of those things where they're kind of, once again, they buy their own narrative on how this stuff works, that everyone wants this in the case. And now with their heavy handedness and absolute Keystone Cop ICE Gestapo that's up here, they're realizing this is backfiring. And, you know, I don't know how much more I think they're not going to back down in Minneapolis, but maybe they start pulling back and realizing shooting people in the streets is not a good look.
Well, I hope they realize that shooting people in the streets is not a good look, because
Yeah.
it certainly isn't. Like, Renee Nicole Good should absolutely still be alive. She did not deserve to die in any way. And that, to me, was murder on the street. And I think to so many other Americans, we know it to be murder on the street. And we know this wasn't the first one either. Yet it impacted everybody. Everybody saw it happen. Everybody saw it on camera. And like, we don't come back from that the same. We have to now move forward, and they don't know how to do that. The Trump administration doesn't know how to move forward. Stephen Miller specifically is someone who likes to push all these narratives in a really terrible and disgusting way. And I have some very not safe for radio names for him, but I won't. I'll keep it clean today, because I know the audience. That would be bad. But there's some things about Stephen Miller. He's a very terrible person, and he lies. He's a propagandist. He's the Goebbels of the Trump regime, and he came out and made all these false statements about your city, about Renee Nicole Good, about how the response was, and it's just propaganda to indoctrinate the masses, but it's not working. Because unlike other times in history, we all have phones. We all have devices where we're capturing everything live in person right as things are happening. And that makes a huge difference, because they might have an army of people trying to capture video who are paid by the federal government, but we have an army of citizens who are the backbone of this country, who are also prepared to go out and film and put their lives and their safety out on the line at this point to love their democracy and love their neighbors. Because I've come to find that democracy is an extension of community, and fascism and things on that authoritarian end are the breakdown of community. And what you're seeing in Minnesota is community coming together and saying no more, not here. not in our city. And so many other places in the country are saying, no, do not come here. I heard your mayor talking. It was he spoke his mind about what happened. And I'm glad he did. We need more politicians and more public servants to do that, because that's what happened. Like Gavin Newsom doing that. I'm so glad he's doing that. I hope all the other governors come out and speak the exact same way and just as powerfully, and demand that our representatives in Congress do something about it.
Do you think, okay, so there is one thing that could happen in the next few weeks here. We have a government shutdown coming down. The Department of Homeland Security needs their budget approved. They thought they were going to be able to get that through quickly, but then Renee Good gets killed, and all of a sudden Johnson has put that one off to probably the last vote he can possibly get. Yeah. Because he's realizing, I mean, he's going to have to basically get everyone in the House to vote along with it, and that's not clear on the Republican side. That's not clear if that's going to happen, but it's likely not going to get through the Senate. Does this all end just because of a budget? I mean, they're running short on cash at Department of Homeland Security as it is now. So if this doesn't get approved, does this end, or do they negotiate getting these ICE jerks out of the city?
I don't think the Trump regime in the executive branch care whether the funding is there or not. Yeah. They're just going to do it. I don't think they care, because they don't care about Congress, and they care enough about the judiciary that they're still following it for the most part, but they don't care what Congress has to say. Congress has basically abdicated its powers anyways, and abdicated its Article 1 powers, and has given up, or Article 1 powers, right?
I believe so. Yeah. Anyway,
I forget the exact article power. It's the first power in the Constitution is Congress, and it's the purse, and they have given that up. And Kristi Noem went Secretary of Dog Killers and Murderers.
Gravel pits.
Yeah, she's such a horrible person. God.
Have you seen the video of the chant we made for her? Once again, we cannot put that on the air here. If you go to my Substack page, there's a link to that little chant.
I will do that.
And Blue Sky as well. We
Article 1.
Yeah, there you go. It's a nice little rouser for her. How would I say it like that?
Yeah, and she's heading a department that went over budget last year. They ran out of their budget like 2 months into the presidency, into this new regime. They don't care. They don't care if the money's there or not, because they'll just take it from everywhere else and then say, oh, when it comes time to sign the budget, we just can't fund anything else. That's what we're seeing with the ACA, with the Medicare subsidies and the pullback on USAID, and the destruction of all those other services in our government, was so that they could funnel as much money into ICE as possible and DHS as possible. So I don't think they really care. I think they think the funding is already there and are just going to do whatever they want. Or they're paying through with crypto that we don't even know about. And that would be even worse. And they're probably getting like Trump coins, and like every time they get paid, he gets paid for it. So that's probably what is actually going on, is your bonus is coming in Trump coins, and then you have to get your paycheck in Trump coins. I'd love to know if that is, because he would be getting paid off it. It'd be the ultimate grift.
Oh, it would be. But it'd be like getting paid in Chuck E. Cheese tokens.
Come join me at this Chuck E. Cheese gas station that no longer accept these tokens, but except for on every other Tuesday on the third month of every third year.
I will say this. You do bring up a good point about the money, because these guys are clearly blowing through a lot of cash. I mean, they're ramming vehicles. They've got hotel rooms, obviously, and you're looking at 3,000 ICE agents. I mean, that's a lot of hotel rooms. That's a lot of cars, a lot of gas. They are blowing through cash in this town, and it'll be interesting to see where that goes.
Yeah, it's certainly not coming back to the American people, unless you're in the Gestapo, and then who even knows if you're actually getting paid. Or if you're just doing it for fun, because I think a lot of them would do it anyways, even if they weren't getting paid. And that's the scary thing.
I think some of them think they're getting paid in chocolate coins. And, it wouldn't be surprised. Okay, once again, the page is over on Substack. Sick of this blank. I'll post a link to that later. And, of course, Banner and Backbone Media. That's where you'll find Nick Paro. Nick, an absolute pleasure. Thank you very much. I appreciate you coming on the show today.
Thank you so much, Matt. This has been such a great time.
Come back anytime. By all means, Nick.
Absolutely, I will. I'll have you on my shows too.
You bet. We'll take a break. Come back. It's the Matt McNeil Show.
Your need-to-know news headquarters, the Thom Hartmann Program, AM 950, KTNF, St. Louis Park, Minneapolis, St. Paul, the progressive voice of Minnesota.
I am the amazing Cassandra, a mechanical fortune teller who can predict the exact date and time of your passing. But 5 teenagers have died, and I alone have the power to save them if they can pass my test of song. Their musical trials begin January 16th at Lyric Arts Theater in Anoka. Ride the cyclone along with them at lyricarts.org.
At Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces, our job is to help you find a place for fire. Our displays include over 180 models in diverse styles, and we have over 35 burning displays. Come and experience the glow and warmth of a live fire.
Some say there are only 2 seasons in Minnesota, road construction and winter. Hi, this is Laura, and I agree there are 2 seasons in Minnesota, summer and fireplace season. I bought my wood stove for Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces in 2005, and every season after summer comes the time when we fire up the wood stove, get out our favorite music, and discover the warmth of fire. Our dog Pumpkin remembers the fire too. He stations himself right there, legs up in the air, just enjoying the warmth of the fire. With the wood stove, we are able to keep the main area of the house toasty warm, while the thermostat is set at an energy-efficient 64 degrees. Discover your fireplace season. Visit Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces today.
Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces, out of the ordinary products and services since 1977.
AM 950 KTNF, St. Louis Park, Minneapolis, St. Paul.
Hi, this is Frank Brown with Minuteman Press Uptown. It's election season. If you're campaigning for a candidate, your outreach needs top quality union printed materials, from direct mail and yard signs to door hangers, buttons, t-shirts, and flyers. Minuteman Uptown is your union shop to get people to the polls. We print everything. We'll keep your candidate top of mind. Target your message with a laser focus and maximize your voter turnout efforts. Get started today at mpuptown.com. That's mpuptown.com.
Hey, Chanhassen and Eden Prairie. It's Alex with Buzzcut Mowing. Winter's on its way. Why spend your morning shoveling snow when I can take care of it for you? I provide fast, thorough, and reliable snow removal. Your driveway and sidewalk stay clear, safe, and completely stress-free. Stay warm, skip the back-breaking work, and let me handle all the heavy lifting this season. Visit buzzcutmowingmn.com today. Make winter easier, safer, and more enjoyable with Buzzcut Mowing.
With your AM 950 weather, I'm Brett Johnson. Look for cloudy skies today with a temp falling to about 12. Tonight, cloudy with a low around 5. And Saturday, sunny with a high near 9. Discover macarons like you've never tasted before at Nicolette's Macarons in Plymouth. Pick up a box of elegant French macarons conveniently located right off Highway 169. They're perfect for special gifts, corporate events, or even just yourself. Stop in today or order online at nicolettesmacarons.com.
Broadcasting in Chicago, WCPD 820 Chicago's Progressive Talk. In Seattle, 1150 AM KKNW. On BAM, the Blue Amp Media at blueamp.co on Substack. And, of course, in Minneapolis, St. Paul on AM 950, the Progressive Voice of Minnesota. It is the Matt McNeil Show on your Friday. I hope you have a good weekend planned ahead. 952-946-6205. There is a lot we have to get to. And thanks to Nick for joining us. That was great. Nice to be able to chat with the man. I actually look forward to having him back on. We get obviously a lot of things we can talk about, plus the fact that who doesn't love a veteran? Yes. One veteran to another. I appreciate your service, sir. Okay, so, Brett, there are some stories I generally try not to get into because, well, they're goofy, they're stupid, they seem petty as one of those things. And I'm not sure if you're aware, but through Trump's first term, and at times during his campaign, there would be a story that would come up, definitely not in the mainstream media, but in just kind of secondary medias, that would talk about how bad he smells.
I had forgotten about that, but I've definitely heard that before.
Yeah, and once again, I generally have not gone down this path, Because I mean, it's like, okay, because it's like saying, oh, he has flatulence. It's one of the things. It's just a way to, sometimes there's ways to be petty about criticizing someone. You don't need to get petty about Trump. You can criticize a lot of things about that jackass, but there is this kind of thing that's been out there, and it's kind of lingered, apparently, like the stench of Trump, that has basically kind of been out there. And I've not really decided to, but I decided to after this because multiple people. Remember, he was in Detroit a few days ago, right? Did you see that? Is this a story?
Oh, where he gave a salute to someone. Yeah.
Yeah. No, he was showing what his IQ is. And one very tiny finger, by the way. That is a tiny, tiny man hand finger. Sorry about that there. Yeah. Anyway, according to the Lincoln Square Project, Ford workers, so multiple people in Detroit, had unexpected sensory takeaways from the president's recent visit. Staffers there report multiple workers describing Diaper Don. His body odor was, and this is the quote, bad breath mixed with feces. I can't describe it, but I'll never forget it. This is, of course, not the first time Trump's aroma has entered the public record. Over the years, reporters, authors, and on-the-record witnesses have independently remarked that, yikes, he could melt chrome off a bumper, apparently. And multiple people in Detroit, these are tough people. Detroit's a tough town, man. They're working in the auto industry. These are hard workers. And apparently they were like weeping like an onion. Oh my God. But once again, the healthiest man, according to the Republicans, according to MAGA, the healthiest man to ever hold the presidency. Is it spore season for him? Sorry. Is he releasing the spores at this point? Is that what's going on?
I think that Venezuelan opposition leader should have, instead of giving him the Nobel Prize, give him like a speed stick or something.
A Lysol can. Yeah, well, someone's going to have the guts to walk into a meeting with Trump and just start spraying Lysol like, oh my God. It's like a dorm room in an outhouse.
But who in his inner circle could say anything that wouldn't get kicked out instantly of the entire White House?
Well, you can't do it. But hey, if I get the opportunity, yeah. I've got a marketing idea for Lysol. Anyway, we'll have to see how. I don't think they're going to let me pull that off. Oh, yeah. I don't want to, man. I don't need to, be like one of those guys back in the days of the plague with that big long-nosed mask that I have to put flowers down in so I can get past the smell of the corpses and bodies everywhere. No, I don't want to do that. Someone might need to hose him off. I'm just going to let you know. Yes, all dignity has now officially left. You start shooting people in my city, I'm not going to be nice to you guys. I don't feel you guys. Your rhetoric is horrible. Oh, okay. After you shot somebody in the streets, shot actually a second person through a door, and then lied about it with some sort of ninja shovel squad. Which was apparently a made up lie. So, God, it's horrible. 952-946-6205. Spore season. Oh boy, is it that time of year again? Oh, the time flies. It's like one of those movies in like 1950s, 60s movies from Japan where those guys came up with some really scary monsters back then. Mushroom people. Yeah, I remember that. Anyway, 952-946-6205. All right, so I want to I do want to say, and something I mentioned with Nick, it has been relatively quiet here in town today with the ice raids. Now, once again, we did hear from Brett there that there's reports of them, and actually I've heard since then, I've had multiple people verify they're going to door in a town. It's I guess you'd say borderline metro area. It's about 40 miles northwest of the Twin Cities. It's a town called Monticello, and they're apparently going door to door there. I will say it is kind of interesting that Tom Emmer's district, You can see a map where ICE has been cited. Where people are tracking where they're at, and there's a map where you can see they've gone. Tom Emmer, the Minnesota 6th congressman, the Fat Casper, if you must know, he is up in kind of northwest of the metro area. He is the House Majority Whip, and he is whipped. I'm not going to deny that. Like Miracle Whip, only whiter somehow. Anyway, he is he lives in a town called Delano. Funny story. Now, I don't believe any raid should be going on, but as ICE spreads out, they haven't done any raids in his town of Delano. Now, I would like to think, I'm sure that they'll say, well, they just don't have they haven't made a trip over there, or there's no one there. The way these guys are grabbing anyone off the street, legal or not legal, doesn't matter to any of these damn clowns. They don't. But I don't think necessarily Emmer has basically told ICE to stay away from his town because, he's basically trying to protect the businesses that hire undocumented workers, which are basically bankrolling his campaigns. But I do believe he's doing it because he doesn't want to have to answer to his neighbors. Wait a second here. I thought you said this was only happening in those liberal areas of the city. And I think that one of the things that Republicans try to do is prevent from having their consequences actually impact the people there. Now, we could make an argument. It was like, obviously these people are going to be affected by the rise in Affordable Care Act prices that Emmer was proudly, that when he did the big, beautiful bill, that he proudly got out there. So, he can't really keep everything there, but I'm going to guess, considering that ICE has been going all over the state and the fact they've gone out of their way to avoid Delano, where Emmer is at, I'm going to bet that he said, I don't want you guys here just because I don't want to have to explain to my neighbors, what's going on. Because once you see these guys in action, your public opinion again, turns pretty quick against them. And I've got a story coming up next hour, which is just a humdinger of douchiness, courtesy of ICE in a town called Wilmer, Minnesota. I'll get to that in a second. There is some concern tomorrow. Immigrants, activists, and local politicians are imploring members of Congress to stop the violent arrests. They're in town right now, and like I said, I think is one of the reasons why you're seeing a pullback on ICE activity. But there's some concern about tomorrow in regards to a rally that's supposed to happen in Minneapolis tomorrow. Now, I'm going to be honest. It's going to be cold tomorrow. It's going to be like Minnesota cold. And so I don't know how many people are going to show up to go marching through the streets of Minneapolis. I don't. The tensions boiled over on Tuesday night at a West Bank Business Association public safety meeting where residents and Democratic politicians voiced fears that the upcoming March Against Minnesota Fraud could lead to a harassment of the Somali community members. The march planned for tomorrow at Minneapolis City Hall is organized by conservative influencer Jake Lang, who's been advertising the march on his Twitter page. In a post, he called for crusaders to take back Minnesota from Democrats. Good luck with that. Dozens filed into the January 13th meeting at the Brian Cole Community Center, a gathering place on the Cedar Riverside neighborhood. Now, for people that don't know, Cedar Riverside is where a lot of Somalis live in Minneapolis, is over by Cedar Riverside. Minnesota Representative Mohammed Noor said that while the march is expected to start downtown, it's fearful it will move to the neighborhoods with high Somali populations, such as Cedar Riverside, in order to film and provoke people. We need to provide more support to the community so that they know that everyone's got the right to be here and everyone will be here protected from this nonsense and the mayhem that's happening all over the city. Lang did not return a request for comments about this march on Wednesday to his social media accounts. 2 different times are listed for the march at 11 a.m. and 1 p.m. according to the descriptions of the Eventbrite reservation page. Eventbrite's involved with this? Eventbrite is helping putting on a extremist right-wing. Okay. Really, Eventbrite? Christians and conservatives across Minnesota, this is quote, Christians and conservatives across Minnesota will and beyond will gather at Minneapolis St. Paul for a peaceful public rally calling for transparency, accountability, and public responsible governance. The event page did not say how many have RSVP to show up. It's described as a march against the fraud. Participants will advocate for stronger enforcement of the law, protection of public resources, and leadership, blah, blah, blah. As of Wednesday afternoon, the Municipal Building Commission, which operates separately from the city of Minneapolis, confirmed that no permits actually have been issued for City Hall this weekend. So he's saying there's going to be a rally. They don't have a permit to have a rally at City Hall yet. Would it stop an extremist far right person? Of course not. They're here to intimidate the community, Noor said, adding that the matter of Renee Good is something that we're thinking about. One of Lang's posts takes more political tone about the march, going after Governor Walz, Ilhan Omar, and Jacob Fry. The post includes video of Lang standing alongside ICE officers at the Whipple building with a sign that reads, "We love ICE." Yeah, we saw him out there filming this stuff. When public opinion, it became clear public opinion was turning against him, not only did Trump have all the right-wing and Republicans out there say, every ICE is good. This is all in the Democrats, which is a bunch of crap because the Minnesota Republican Party actually did this to themselves. But they sent in a whole bunch of these far-right extremist influencers to try to sell the ICE as, the fun Nazis, I guess. Yeah. All right. I want to... So, they've got it listed as 11. They've got it at 1. Here's what I want to say, because I already know a lot of counter protesters are planning on being out there. If these guys actually do try to have a rally, first of all, it should be known that my guess is ICE is going to be there in a support capacity for this rally. And that should be concerning, but that's ICE. The concerning is basically, I think, the C in ICE, if I'm not mistaken. Incorrigible. Never mind. So you have a lot of people are going to show up. Okay, for the crowd that's there. These guys want videos, okay, for clickbait. Here's what I want you to do. Once again, peacefully protest. But scream, virgins. Do that the entire time. Because trust me, those weak manhooded jackasses will not put that video up there if they're basically getting taunted that way. That would be just too much of a shot to their ego. So just sit there, and if a far larger crowd is screaming virgins at them, chef's kiss. That's going to negate most of their video they're going to try to use for this. I will also say it does concern me whether or not a right-wing paid instigator might show up. If somebody starts throwing bricks or someone starts trying to throw a Molotov cocktail, can I just say this? You grab them. If they're trying to break the law, grab them, hogpile them. If they're trying to break the law, grab them, put them under citizen's arrest, and yank their damn head masks and scarves off there until the police get there, and so we can find out who exactly is doing it. But once again, peaceful protest, but if somebody tries to break the law, well, grab them. Don't just let them run away. It is the Matt McNeil Show.
Crooners is a classic supper club with a wide range of entertainment. Make your reservations for a parade of international, national, and local artists in the main stage showroom, the intimate Dunsmore Jazz Room, or outdoors at the seasonal Belvedere Under the Stars space. Or enjoy Maggie's Piano Lounge. Enjoy 4-star food and drinks with first-class supper club service. What are you waiting for? Go to croonersmn.com for more information and schedule. That's croonersmn.com.
Would you let animals pick your insurance? Do you really need to experience mayhem to get the best rates? Or how about a celebrity quarterback or fake university saving you money? There's a lot of marketing stunts when it comes to insurance, but what you really need is someone looking out for you. Call Array Insurance, and they will work hard to find you the best insurance coverage and rates. So avoid gimmicks and call Cheryl at Array, 763-504-3067, or arrayinsurance.com. Array Insurance, working hard for you.
It's no secret that medical care costs are soaring, with nursing home and skilled nursing care costs being some of the highest. You don't have to deplete your savings in order to receive long-term care. At Schroman Law, we work with families to develop and implement strategic planning for medical assistance for long-term care, for assisted living, nursing home care, or home-based care. Contact us today to schedule a free consultation at schromenlaw.com. That's SCHROMEN law.com.
Hi, I'm Beth Thompson, owner of Big Hill Books in the charming Bryn Mawr neighborhood. Our customers call us the happiest bookstore in the Twin Cities because here, joy isn't an escape, it's resistance. You'll find bookshelves full of inspiration, 2 cats who think they run the place, and Gigi, our gentle shop dog. Visit us at 405 Penn Avenue South or online at bighillbooks.com. And be sure to say you heard about us on AM 950. We can't wait to meet you.
Get ready to zoom into a world full of color, música, and alegría at Children's Theater Company. Go Da Go, Ve Pero Ve is a bilingual musical bursting with playful, high-speed energy as dogs drive, swim, and race to the big dog party. This joyful espectáculo blends English y Espanol with expressive physical storytelling. Go Da Go is sure to have you laughing, moving, and howling with delight. On stage January 20th through February 22nd. Tickets at childrenstheater.org.
There really is no place like home. Hi, I'm Mary T. of Mary T. Home Health. When you're faced with an illness or an injury, being able to stay at home and receive care is important. Our home health offers a wide range of services, including skilled nursing, physical, occupational, and speech therapies, aides, homemakers, in-home respite care, and 24/7 live-in care. We'll work closely with your primary care provider to come up with an individualized plan for you. Learn more today at marytinc.com.
Haven't you heard on the internet, girl?
It is the Matt McNeil Show. Thank you very much for being here. 952-946-6205. 952-946-6205 is the phone number. I'm back online. We took a little break. I had to refresh myself. Brett forgot to put me back. It's okay. You see, this is live radio. Trust me. I'm shocked that any day we get this show on the air, frankly, at all. I mean, it really is bubble gums and prayers, kids. Bubble gums and prayers. Now, I want to go back to what I was saying before about this rally, these far-right stooges, and the threat that they have, because this is the new right-wing thing. Run into some Somali neighborhood and start screaming at Somalis because the Minnesota Republican Party has told them, go get those black people. That's what the Minnesota Republican Party has said. And so here we are. If you see someone burning a flag, now, hey, I'm a veteran. I wouldn't burn a flag. I would. But that's freedom of speech. Now, granted, if they're waving around at people, it's a flaming thing. That's a little bit dangerous. You want to be careful with that. But I'm not going to give away too much of this. I don't know if you've seen the movie One Battle After Another. It's a great movie. What I'm about to reveal won't ruin the movie for you at all. But there is one scene in that where Sean Penn's troops are his policing force, his militarized policing force, which is terrorizing his city. That seems like it's actually irrelevant. Anyway, they are upset because people protesting are not protesting violently enough. So they say, release Eddie Van Halen. And this guy comes out of this car and throws a Molotov cocktail and then runs back to the car and drives off. And they basically use that as the justification to go and start, cracking skulls. Would I be surprised at ICE or other right-wing organizations trying to put what we've called in Minneapolis Umbrella Man? Umbrella Man refers back to the George Floyd protests, where these people wearing full head-to-toe coverings were the ones that started most of the problems. And the suspicion is that they were, right-wing and kind of racist white supremacist guys that came into the city to do this intentionally, to try to start a race war back then. So that when I refer to Umbrella Man, that's kind of what we're referring to. There was already one at an earlier rally where some guy burned a flag wearing top to bottom things, and they all followed him. Now, once again, burning a flag technically is not illegal. That's freedom of protest. But if you are at this rally and you see somebody throwing a brick, you see somebody trying to throw a Molotov cocktail, tackle their caboose, grab them, and Yes, everyone film him, but grab him. Citizens arrest him. Do not allow that guy to basically run away, because I would sure love to find out who's under that hiding underneath that motorcycle helmet or winter face covering. And if you see them and everyone sees them trying to break the law, grab them. Because then all bets are off. That's called a citizen's arrest. You see them breaking the law, they're trying to get people killed. Hand them over to the police. I will also say, it should be mentioned, that the Republican Party is not doing a very good job of getting rid of, as you guys get upset with me, you keep saying Nazis and Gestapo. Well, you guys are having a hard time shaking that because of your own actions, okay? The website domain nazi.us appears to have been set up to redirect visitors to the Department of Homeland Security's homepage. DHS Assistant Secretary for Public Affairs, Tricia McLaughlin, hack, Ava herself told TMZ her agency successfully blocked the redirect as of Thursday morning. However, as of this morning, the domain still appears to be directing people to the DHS website. Mediate reported that the domain is registered to someone with a mailing address in Florida. Now a congressional candidate in Florida appears to be taking credit for the move. Mark Davis, who says he's running for the Republican Representative Vern Buchanan seat in Florida's 16th, claimed Friday in a social media post he is the guy that purchased the domain. Republican guy running Nazi website. You guys got it. Okay. And then there's this. Several faculty groups have denounced the Trump administration efforts to obtain information about the Jewish professors, staff, and students at the University of Pennsylvania, including personal emails, phone numbers, and home addresses, as government abuse with ominous historical overtones. The U.S. the U.S. Equal Employment Opportunity Commission is demanding the university to turn over names and personal information about Jewish members at the Penn community as part of the administration's stated goal to combat anti-Semitism on campuses. But some Jewish faculty and staff have condemned the government's demand as a visceral threat to the safety of those who would find themselves identified. Compiling and turning over to the government a list of Jews conjures up a horrifying history, according to a press release put out by the group's lawyer. Yeah, it kind of does. It kind of does. When you're asking for the list, give us the list of Jews. That's the administration. That is an official government agency. The U.S. Equal Employment Opportunity Commission is asking for the list of Jews. And once again, we've had 2 weeks of front and center Gestapo-like tactics from the Dum Dum Brigade that has hit our city. You guys get so upset with us. You guys get so mad. But you yourselves don't say, hey, Donald, what's up with the list of Jews? Hey, Florida congressman running as a Republican, what's with the Nazi.com website? Hey, Department of Homeland Security, how come you haven't blocked that? Or the state representative in New Hampshire, who basically is caught on a Signal app talking about how she wants to segregate the schools. And by the way, it was clear that her argument was to segregate them by race, but now she's trying to imply that, no, I was going to segregate them by political ideology. Oh, okay. Because, well, and let's be honest with you, it's probably, that's mostly by race anyway. But you guys want to get mad at us for saying, hey, you guys are being real Nazi-esque, yet you guys don't stop the Nazi stuff. That's on you. And it's something they've seen in Chicago. It's something they've seen in Seattle. And we're seeing it right now in Minneapolis. Yikes. All right. Chicago, Seattle, have a good weekend. Talk to you on Monday. Minneapolis, St. Paul, Blue Amp. We'll cut hour 2 up next.
AM 950 would like to thank everyone who joined and donated during our winter membership drive. Your support shows that Minnesotans still value an independent progressive radio station that delivers facts, not spin. AM 950 is locally owned, based right here in the Twin Cities, and dedicated to uplifting small businesses and diverse communities. At a time when some voices are being pushed aside, AM 950 refuses to be silenced. Please help keep Progressive Radio on the air. Visit am950radio.com and donate today.
Turn to Auto Technical with your vehicle donation. We have families waiting for a car. You know, over 85% of unemployed are successful in finding and keeping a job if they have dependable transportation. A car plus a job equals a life changed. 612-919-5526. We have families waiting for a car. 919-5526 or autotech.org.
Hey, Minnesota, it's your favorite sexy liberal. Join me and my fellow cohorts in liberal justice weekdays from 8 to 11 on AM 950 KTNF, St. Louis Park, Minneapolis, St. Paul, the progressive voice of Minnesota.
In K News, I'm Haya Panjwani. Speaking with reporters, President Trump says he doesn't see the need right now to invoke the Insurrection Act in Minneapolis.
If I needed it, I'd use it. I don't think there's any reason right now to use it. But if I needed it, I'd use it. It's very powerful.
After leaving her Nobel Peace Prize with President Trump on Thursday, Venezuela's exiled opposition leader says her country deserves freedom without the trappings of the Maduro regime. AP's Jennifer King.
Venezuelan opposition leader Maria Corina Machado says she's confident her country will eventually transition to democracy.
We want to live with dignity. We want to live with the result of our work, our effort, a society based in merit.
Speaking at the Heritage Foundation, Machado says the people of Venezuela are ready for change.
Venezuela is going to be free, and that's going to be achieved with the support of the people of the United States.
President Trump says he was impressed by Machado during her visit Thursday at the White House.
She's a very fine woman, and we'll be talking again.
But she remains in a difficult position. Trump has endorsed Nicolas Maduro's longtime right hand, Delcy Rodriguez, as the country's leader for now. And sources say that CIA Director John Ratcliffe visited Venezuela Thursday to talk with the acting president about economic cooperation and U.S. demands on drug trafficking. Jennifer King, Washington.
Federal auto safety regulators have given a 5-week extension for Tesla to respond to allegations that its vehicles have broken traffic laws while operating in what the electric automaker calls full self-driving mode. Tesla now has up until February 23rd to answer the National Highway and Traffic Safety Administration's request for information. The original deadline was January 19th. The preliminary investigation of Tesla's full self-driving feature was opened in early October of last year after the NHTSA said it collected dozens of reports of the cars running red lights or driving on the wrong side of the road, sometimes crashing into other vehicles and causing injuries. This is AP News.
So am I the only one who thinks watching TV is way too complicated?
Not at all. It's ridiculous. There are too many services, and don't get me started on the cost.
Good thing we found Philo, a better way to TV.
I know, right? For as low as $33 a month, we get the best live channels, MTV, BET, Food Network, plus all the hit movies and shows from AMC+.
And since they've added access to HBO Max Basic with ads plan and Discovery Plus to their core package, it's the best deal out there. Now we get to watch all the TV we love with just one subscription.
I love that there are no contracts or hidden fees. Just great TV for an affordable price.
And come on, how great is their DVR? We can save all our shows, rewatch them for up to a year, and skip the ads. It's a total game changer.
Signing up was so easy, too. You just went to philo.tv and locked in the best price.
Yep, a few taps for philo.tv, and we were on our way.
Well, Philo was the easiest decision we've ever made. Now the hard one is deciding what to binge next.
Hi, this is Frank Brown of Minuteman Press Uptown with a question for our listeners. How important are business values to you? When you need high-quality digital print, it matters who you work with. You see, Minuteman Uptown is unique. We're one of the only union print shops in Minnesota providing our team with living wages and benefits. We believe in second chances for justice-impacted individuals who want to contribute to the community, and we are active in local issues. We've been in the streets standing up for racial, social, and economic justice. At Minuteman Uptown, our mission is to connect all communities through technology-driven print solutions. An example of that mission is when I moved Minuteman Uptown to North Minneapolis. We're invested in this local community, and we help small businesses and local organizations throughout the Twin Cities reach their audiences. Reach out to Minuteman Uptown and partner with a printer that shares your values. Call us today at 612-870-0777 or visit us at mpuptown.com. That's mpuptown.com.
I am the amazing Cassandra, a mechanical fortune teller who can predict the exact date and time of your passing. But 5 teenagers have died, and I alone have the power to save them if they can pass my test of song. Their musical trials begin January 16th at Lyric Arts Theater in Anoka. Ride the cyclone along with them at lyricarts.org.
With your AM 950 weather, I'm Brett Johnson. Look for cloudy skies today with a temp falling to about 12. Tonight, cloudy with a low around 5. And Saturday, sunny with a high near 9. Discover macarons like you've never tasted before at Nicolette's Macarons in Plymouth. Pick up a box of elegant French macarons conveniently located right off Highway 169. They're perfect for special gifts, corporate events, or even just yourself. Stop in today or order online at nicolettesmacarons.com.
Portions of the following program may be pre-recorded.
Hour number 2 of the show here on AM 950, the Progressive Voice of Minnesota, and BAM Blue Amp Media at blueamp.co on Substack. I'm Matt. Hi. Good to have you guys with us here today. 952-946-6205. 952-946-6205. Apparently, I just saw this story, and I don't have time to get in. I can look at it more, but apparently at one of the St. Louis Park, which is a Twin Cities suburb, one of their daycares, apparently ICE is just waiting out there for a parent to come pick up their kid. Nice. We've had parents getting yanked away from kids at bus stops, and the kids getting left behind. Man, that is crazy.
What other circumstance is that normal where you just have a car sitting outside a daycare just waiting? That's not a parent.
Because they're basically they're the lazy. Oh God, I've got a story coming up here. That, like I said, that just, you want how douchey these guys are. I got one coming out of Wilmer that broke last night, but I actually wanted to bring up something because how many friends do you have that live kind of outstate, live out in rural parts of the state of Minnesota or rural parts of the country anywhere?
Oh, a few of them, yeah. Most of them are in metro areas, but I know a few. I live in some rural areas.
Did you ever spend much time out there in rural America?
Oh yeah, I did. Yeah,
I did too. I mean, it was kind of a radio thing. I worked in KASI. I worked at KDAO, WGEZ, Woodgees in Bullitt, Wisconsin. I looked at KKBJ up in Bemidji. I worked in a lot of different places, small town. And when I've worked in small towns, one of the things when I was there, and I was there mostly in the 90s, I came back to the Twin Cities and started my radio career here back in 2000. But when I was in the 90s, when you'd go to a small town, I mean, some small rural towns were doing okay. I don't think many of them were doing great, but some were doing okay. But the propensity of small rural towns where you'd go into this town and be 9 empty buildings and maybe a co-op, maybe a gas station, maybe a restaurant, maybe. And that's what you had. And everything else was, empty. Well, in ag communities where there is large processing plants, there's large dairy operations, there's large turkey and hog operations, cattle operations, there's large acreage operations. The undocumented workers, mainly Hispanic workers who bust their buns and really keep America fed, they started moving into these areas because there was such a demand for their workforce. They needed people to come up there and work. And so these communities started coming to the realization that basically if we welcome them in, this might be a good thing. And it was. And there have been plenty of people I have talked to that their towns are fairly thriving because of the Hispanic populations. I mean, there are towns in Minnesota where the billboards are in Spanish because there's so many Hispanic workers that are in these towns. And that's great. It's wonderful. A friend, I was talking to him. He's out in a town out in the West. He moved out there 30 plus years ago. He said, I remember when this town was empty, there was nothing here. And we have now, because they welcomed in the Hispanic population, they had restaurants, they had Mexican grocery stores. There was money being spent, which other businesses started opening up. They had a pet store for the first time in like 50 years in this town. They had, they've got clothing stores. They've got, knick-knack shops. Things were thriving. And then ICE showed up, and he says everything's shut down. Every restaurant in the town now is shut down. The grocery store is shut down. Everyone's terrified of going into the downtown because they're afraid of ICE. And he says there wasn't even an ICE raid in their town, to their knowledge. No one seems to have seen them arrest anyone in their town, but there was one town over. And one of the reasons why Republicans now are frantically trying to push ICE onto Democrats is because this is hurting their communities. And like I said, I can't get past. I'm not going to try to understand the psychological complexities of some idiot who lives in a community that sees that the need for undocumented workers is high, but yet endorses a government platform of round them all up. I mean, that is some really racist crap right there. But the impacts that are going to happen, because it probably is not going to be too long before these businesses don't ever reopen again. And you're going to have a return of that 1990s rural small town where it's empty building after empty building after empty building, and a bunch of old white guys sitting there saying, I remember when we had a pharmacy. I remember when we had a grocery store. I remember. Now we have to drive 30 miles to the Walmart. You guys did this to yourselves. I can't help you on that, but this is all on you. It is on you. Okay, so I got Michael Broadcorp coming up. Now, I just want to give everyone a little heads up here. Michael Broadcorp is actually a political pundit, actually from the right side. He's a Republican. But I like Michael, and I get along with him, even though I disagree with him on a lot of things, because Michael Broadcorp is a 1980s Republican. And back then, we could say, hey, we want good schools. All right. A policy thing. Now, he'd have a very different opinion on how I would have a very different opinion, but we wouldn't think that the other person was evil in disagreeing on how to get it done. That was called the sausage making of politics. And, frankly, I think when we were able to come together and, concede some things and get some concessions ourselves, you ended up getting a more rounded set of policies across the board. Michael did not vote for Trump. He is not a Trump supporter. He was actually a very vocal anti-Trump supporter. And he's my friend. And I wish Republicans were like Michael Broadcorp. I wish they were. Because frankly, I miss the days of actually trying to solve problems as opposed to have to point out Nazis. Okay, you guys, I know we want to get to transportation policy, but you see the Gestapo over here? Maybe we should focus on that first. I'm going to have him on to talk sports too. I know. Okay, that might have just taken a pretty sharp turn for you. Just and for all the guys on Blue Amp, let me explain. Michael is a massive Minnesota Vikings fan, and so we have him on as our Vikings expert during the regular season. You'll get to hear this next year when we start back in with Vikings coverage. Bon appetit. But with him not here for Vikings anymore, and with it being a relatively lighter day, I am going to get into the picks with him for the weekend football games, and we'll go for them. Plus the fact that we'll get to hear him relish and joy over the Green Bay Packers getting beat by the Chicago Bears. So we'll get to that. That's coming up here. And I'm, of course, obviously going to talk to him a little bit, get his thoughts on what is going on in the Twin Cities with these ICE agents. So just an FYI, be prepared. And by the way, he has The Girls Are Gone is a book he wrote about. It is crazy. This is how I started having him on the air. I don't want to give away too much about it, but it is an insanely good book. And it's one I highly, highly recommend, about a crazy case, which is definitely deserving of its own movie for sure. So, we'll have him coming up here in a little bit here. 952-946-6205. Let's get to our day's worth of atrocities. You can't really spin that, can you? I can't. You can't put a rose on that pig, can you? No. ICE has arrested a member of the Minnesota Newspaper and Communications Guild, the union announced on Friday. He is a father, a husband, and a staff member at a Minneapolis nonprofit organization, the press release reads. He's a steward in our union and an advocate for all workers, and he's one of dozens of Minnesota working union members who have been detained in recent weeks. The detained man's name is being withheld by the MNCG. He's currently awaiting action in his petition for habeas corpus inside an El Paso, Texas ICE detention facility. That, there's something there about the fact that how quickly they get these guys out of the city and into El Paso, Texas. I mean, that's ugh. Yeah. I also want to mention, I'll let me see if I can find that story about the St. Louis Park. And once again, just seeing this for the first time myself, this is at the daycare. U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement agents confronted a parent outside of a St. Louis Park daycare on Friday morning. Okay. Sources speaking on condition of anonymity to protect the privacy of the daycare said 2 unmarked ICE vehicles were parked directly across the street from our parking lot and playground as parents were dropping off their children around 9 a.m. They're just looking for people that don't look white. Let's just be honest. That's what they're looking for. They're looking for people that don't look white. Sources speaking on once again, they were dropping off the kids around 9 a.m. When a parent confronted him, the source claims a masked agent threatened him with pepper spray. They threatened to mace him, but shortly after, St. Louis Park police arrived and they left the immediate area. Source said, noting the police were quick to the scene and stayed outside the daycare for about an hour. So nicely done, St. Louis Park police, protecting the masses from all villains, great and small. How about I say it like that? It should mention as well, public safety officials are speaking ahead of the weekend protest because, once again, a lot of people are upset with this right-wing stooge coming into our city and trying to have a protest and try to harass the Somali community. Representatives of the Department of Public Safety and Minnesota National Guard are having a press conference today. The briefing started a little bit ago, in which a far-right influencer is planning to hold a March Against Minnesota rally in Minneapolis City Hall. The counter demonstration is also being planned amid fears it could lead to the harassment of Somali residents who have been targeted by America's dirtbags amid ongoing investigations of the public program. Do we know if any Minnesota Republicans are planning on being on the rally against Minnesota? Oh, go sycophants. It's like, seriously, my God, are any Republicans in Minnesota going to be at the rally against Minnesota? All right. Oh God. Crazy. This is my state right now. This is my state. Oh my God. I wouldn't be surprised. There's always going to be one or two. There are some real, absolute far right douche nozzles in this state that really are probably going to be there. I hate it here. Vote for me. And his district will. And his district will say he's a straight shooter. Is he? Is he? The guy that wants to burn the state to the ground? Okay. We mentioned yesterday, we got extensively into the lies that Department of Homeland Security and ICE agents were talking about some sort of coordinated Central American snow shovel attack force that was attack that apparently set up that their argument was that this attack force had lured an ICE agent in, and the shovels began spinning for some sort of Minnesota version of Quidditch. And needless to say, he ended up shooting someone through the leg. And we actually pointed out, well, funny story, the shot of the guy that got shot in the leg was actually shot through the door of his own house. So not so much shovel attack squad from Guatemala, but rather an ICE agent just shooting someone randomly through a door. So their entire story kind of broke down. One of the things that happened that night, along with, of course, federal officials not understanding, dude, you don't mess with North Minneapolis. What are you doing? I wouldn't mess with North Minneapolis. Northeast Minneapolis is lovely. In the sense being is that you can go there and you might be able to push them around a little bit. North Minneapolis, man, they are not planned. And they had whether two of their vehicles got trashed, need to buff those out. I think of what was the movie with Billy Crystal in it, where they were the cops and they had the car that kept getting spray painted as undercover cop car. That sort of thing happened. And of course, everyone left all their stuff there. One of the things that happened as these agents frantically panicked and tried to get out of there, Running Scared. There it is. It's Running Scared is the movie. I knew I'd remember. A great movie, by the way. Fantastic movie. One of the things that happened last night was in the flurry to get out of there, apparently an ICE agent tossed a stun grenades and a tear gas grenade at a minivan with 6 kids in it. It actually was a lot scarier than we knew. North Minneapolis family had to seek urgent medical care after ICE barraged them with stun grenades and a tear gas. Once again, just because they saw a minivan and they threw these at the family, the baby was completely unconscious and not breathing, said Destiny Jackson of her 6-month-old child. Adds her husband, Sean, from the side, the front, and from behind him, there's nothing but ice. It felt like our lungs were burning. EMTs eventually arrived and escorted the 3 youngest of the 6 Jackson children to the hospital. The family returned home on Thursday. Sean is not sure why the immigration officials ambushed their SUV. It's because they're incompetent boobs and they don't know what the hell they're doing. How about we say it like that? All right, I'm going to take a break. When I come on back, are you ready? Okay, I want you to think about how douchey ICE has been so far, just in their day-to-day activities. Obviously, they're horrific in the shooting of the man through the door, the murder of Renee Good, but just on their day-to-day basis, I want you to think for a second here while we're in the commercial break of how douchey could there be? Well, I got one that could be the douchiest thing I've ever heard in my entire life, and it's courtesy of ICE. I'll get to that in a second. 952-946-6205, 952-946-6205. It is the Matt McNeil Show.
Hey, Francois, have you made any New Year's resolutions?
Non.
Well, mine is to learn some French. Can you help me?
Bien sûr.
How do you say this? Can I buy you?
Est-ce que je peux t'acheter
Macaroons from Nicolette's.
des macarons de Nicolette's?
Now, say it all at once.
Est-ce que je peux t'acheter des macarons de Nicolette's?
Oh, absolutely. I'll have a box of raspberry rose, blueberry cheesecake, and chocolate.
Mais c'est quoi ça?
Thank you, Francois. You can order them online at nicoletsmacaroons.com or visit their store in Plymouth. Merci.
Hi, I'm Mary T. Caring for others runs deep in my family. My grandmother, Rosa, was a nurse who cared for people in their homes more than a century ago. Inspired by her compassion, my mother, Margaret, and I founded the Mary T. family of companies nearly 50 years ago. Today, we continue that legacy across Minnesota, Wisconsin, Maryland, and Arizona, providing senior living, assisted living with memory care, home health, hospice care, rental housing, and support for people with disabilities. Each service is personal, creative, and focuses on the unique needs of those we serve. We also believe in joy and community, which is why we opened Crooner Supper Club in Fridley, a place to celebrate life with music, laughter, and connection. At Mary T., we're proud to be a Minnesota family company rooted in compassion, inclusion, and respect, and proud supporters of AM 950 and the values that this station represents. Visit MaryTinc.com to learn more.
Congratulations to Mary T, named one of the most admired CEOs of 2026 by the Minneapolis-St. Paul Business Journal.
Hey, it's Patrick for Zero Res. Pretty much everybody I talk to is ready to leave 2025 behind. So what better way to do that than quite literally have Zero Res come over and clean that 2025 dirt out of the house. Pretty much any surface in your home can be Zero Resified, from carpets, tile, rugs, upholstery, hardwood, and so much more. Zero Res can take care of it all, so it's time to call the cleaning pros. Start your freshest year yet in 2026 with Zero Res's biggest sale ever in celebration of the new year, and wash 2025 right out of your home with this deal. This month, you can get 3 rooms of carpet clean starting at just $119 and a free hallway, plus 15% off regularly priced services like air ducts, upholstery, area rugs, tile, hardwood, and more. Call 952-ZERO-RES or go to ZeroResMinnesota.com and ask for the AM 950 special. Backward or forward spells the same. Zero Res.
I'm Beth Thompson, owner of Big Hill Books. Our fans call us the happiest bookstore in the Twin Cities. And honestly, we take that seriously. When the news gets grim, we choose joy. When things get dark, we read. So come meet Gigi the shop dog, our 2 feline co-workers, and maybe find your next favorite book. We're at 405 Penn Avenue South in Bryn Mawr, or bighillbooks.com. Say you heard about us on AM 950. We can't wait to meet you.
Na na na, come on. Na na na, come on. Na 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 na, come on.
It is the Matt McNeil Show.
Na na na, come on. Come on.
Nice to have you with us here today. 952-946-6205. 952-946-6205 is the phone number. Okay. This actually broke last night after I got done with yesterday's show. But I'm going to give this a special place on this show because, oh my God. Federal agents detained 3 workers from a family-owned Mexican restaurant in Wilmer, Minnesota on January 15th, hours after the 4 agents ate lunch there. They ate lunch there and then arrested their servers. You know, there is this there is this question, especially that's going through rural America. In the Twin Cities, there's a lot of places that are saying, "Get your ice butts out of our restaurant," and I'm tipping there. But in rural Minnesota, you have this debate because you're in Republican territory. Would the local people get upset with you if you denied an ICE agent service? So, and you just say to yourself, well, they're here for service, they're here for food, they're not here for anything else. Do you turn them away? And here is a case where they said, you know what? No, we're going to trust that they're not bad people, and they end up being the worst. It was not immediately clear what the immigration status of those detained was, or the people's detained included at the restaurant's owners or only workers. An eyewitness who declined to give their name for fear of retribution told the Star Trib that 4 ICE agents sat in a booth for a meal at El Tapatio, all right, restaurant a little before 3 p.m. Staff at the restaurant were frightened. They said the eyewitness who shared pictures of the restaurant as well as the video of the arrest. So, they're here, they're serving them, they're trying to serve them, but they're scared to death of them while they're in there. God, you know what this sounds like? It sounds like when the Germans went into France and would sit there in a restaurant. Think about Inglourious Bastards, and that sort of thing. They'd go in there and sit there, and people are like, okay, are they going to kill us? That sort of thing. They're not going to necessarily kill it, but you're like, okay, all right, here they are. They're looking for food. Maybe we can win them over with our quality food. The arrest happened about 8:30 p.m. near a Lutheran church in Wilmer Middle School as agents followed the workers after they closed up for the night. A handful of bystanders blew whistles and shouted at the agents. This isn't Wilmer. As they detained the people, would your mama be proud of you right now? One of the bystanders asked. Of course not. But I think we can say cleanly, I don't think parental upbringing was quality for many of these guys. Let's just be honest about it. I'm just going to spitball here. Wilmer is the county seat of Candy Ojai County in west central Minnesota, one of the largest, most diverse cities in the state, and the home of Jenny O Turkey Store. The city is filled with thousands of immigrants, Latino, Somali, Karen, more, in a county that voted nearly 65% for Trump in 2024. The Department of Homeland Security did not respond to messages seeking more information on the douches. Last month, immigration agents also visited a Brooklyn Park cafe as customers, and then they detained the cook after they ate. Did you guys tip? No. I'm going to guess no. Oh, my God. Seriously. Man. The People Over Papers this morning, they said they have witness accounts of a woman being arrested by ICE on Tonkawood Lane in Minnetonka. That is like out in wealthy land out there. There was also a possible arrest in Buffalo, Minnesota, which is out about 30 miles west of the city, around 5 a.m. Southwest Twin Cities Thursday. There was reports that they were in, multiple areas of the Southwest Metro, including my neighborhood of the metro, which is a little bit, concerning to say the least. There are rallies scheduled for a good chunk of the weekend here in many different towns. You can find one there. If you're in Minnesota, it's going to be cold, so make sure you bundle up for that. The Department of Homeland Security will soon possess the home addresses and social security numbers and employment eligibility status of Hennepin County healthcare workers. This comes as DHS submitted a subpoena for the organization's I-9 forms. On January 8th, the U.S. Department of Homeland Security issued a subpoena summons to begin an inspection of our organization's I-9 forms. Employers are required by law to verify employees' identity and employment eligibility using an I-9 form, and the agency is legally authorized to inspect this information. Hennepin Healthcare follows federal regulations to properly verify employment eligibility. It supplied the information required by the subpoena. HCMC made it easy on them, said Nate Paulson, who works for HCMC's inpatient psychiatry clinic. We're concerned that they're going to utilize this private worker information to unjustly and illegally target people. Of course they are. That's on brand. We already talked this week about the nurse who was taken off the medical floor as they were treating patients out of a hospital. Did Hennepin Healthcare have any other choice? Really, the answer is no, though. Employment attorney Phyllis Karsarov said there are monetary penalties for refusing to provide the information, and that would also lead possibly to monetary penalties for knowingly employing a person who is not legally authorized. So they had to hand the information over. And then there's more and more and more. It's scary stuff. It is scary stuff. I'll tell you what, I'm going to take a break. We're going to change direction a little bit, although I will ask Michael Broadcorp his thoughts on what's going on in the state of Minnesota when we do coming back. But we'll also get into the football picks for this weekend, and he gets to relish over the fact that the Green Bay Packers lost, which I can already say, considering I'm looking at his screen right now, it says Green Bay sucks. I think it should be fun. We'll do that. We'll have a little bit of brevity, then we'll come back and wrap up for the week. 952-946-6205. It is the Matt McNeil Show here on your Friday.
Just go out and be wild, do it.
Hey, it's Patrick for Zero Res. Pretty much everybody I talk to is ready to leave 2025 behind. So what better way to do that than quite literally have Zero Res come over and clean that 2025 dirt out of the house? Pretty much any surface in your home can be Zero Resified, from carpets, tile, rugs, upholstery, hardwood, and so much more. Zero Res can take care of it all, so it's time to call the cleaning pros. Start your freshest year yet in 2026 with Zero Res's biggest sale ever in celebration of the new year, and wash 2025 right out of your home with this deal. This month, you can get 3 rooms of carpet clean starting at just $119 and a free hallway, plus 15% off regularly priced services like air ducts, upholstery, area rugs, tile, hardwood, and more. Call 952-ZERO-RES or go to ZeroResMinnesota.com and ask for the AM 950 special. Backward or forward spells the same. Zero Res.
Peace of mind shouldn't cost a fortune. We keep things simple at Schroman Law because we believe planning for your estate and end-of-life care shouldn't be stressful or expensive. Every client relationship starts with a free consultation, so clients have the information they need before making important decisions. From there, we work closely with clients to ensure they are choosing the most efficient and cost-effective plans for their specific needs. Schedule a free consultation today at schromanlaw.com. That's SCHROMEN law.com.
Would you let animals pick your insurance? Do you really need to experience mayhem to get the best rates? Or how about a celebrity quarterback or fake university saving you money? There's a lot of marketing stunts when it comes to insurance, but what you really need is someone looking out for you. Call Array Insurance, and they will work hard to find you the best insurance coverage and rates. To avoid gimmicks, call Cheryl at Array, 763-504-3067, or arrayinsurance.com. Array Insurance, working hard for you.
In today's uncertain times, Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces believes that a fire can add comfort and security to your life. At Woodland, our mission is to connect you to a place for fire that works.
Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces installed our wood stove years ago, and we still love it. Watching the fire, feeling the heat is a joy we experience every day. And knowing we have a reliable heat source makes us feel snug and safe.
There are many choices in wood, gas, or electric. For diversity and styles, at Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces, we display over 180 models, and 35 of of these are burning displays. You can experience the glow and warmth of a live fire.
Whether wood, gas, or electric, find a fire that warms your heart, a fire that adds comfort and security to your life. See the many choices at Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces, located on the corner of East Franklin and Riverside Avenue in Minneapolis, and online at woodlandstoves.com.
Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces since 1977. For over 48 years, our slogan has been out of the ordinary products and services. Our mission is to get you a fireplace that works in your life.
With your AM 950 weather, I'm Brett Johnson. Look for cloudy skies tonight with a low around 5, Saturday cloudy with a high near 9, and Sunday partly sunny with a high near 15. Looking for a treat? Discover macarons like you've never tasted before at Nicolette's Macarons in Plymouth. These elegant French macarons are perfect for gifts, corporate events, or just for yourself. Located conveniently off 169 in Plymouth. Stop in today or shop online at nicolettesmacarons.com.
AM 950 KTN up, St. Louis Park, Minneapolis, St. Paul.
AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota, and BAM, Blue Amp Media, blueamp.co on Substack. It is the Matt McNeil Show. Michael Broadcorp is kind enough to join us. For everyone at AM 950. We all know Michael, but once again, for Blue Amp Media, he is a political pundit from the right side of the aisle, but he's also our Minnesota Vikings expert, and we talk sports with him. But I would be remiss if I didn't start this off by actually talking to you a little bit about what's been going on here. It's been a crazy week, man. It's been an exhausting week. You know, you're down in Eagan, Inver Grove Heights area down in the South Metro. You guys had a lot of ICE agent activity down there for a while there. What are you seeing, and what are your thoughts on this whole thing?
Well, I think appreciate the opportunity to be on, and this topic is very, very serious. And I would appreciate and would ask, I think there's a better way to be doing this stuff. I think that the system is just not working, and this is not the Minnesota that I want to see unfold. There are Republicans who are lockstep in supporting the president and calling for the Insurrection Act to be invoked. I came out against that. I don't think it should be invoked. And we need to get common sense, reasonable immigration enforcement, but we cannot be dragging people out of cars. Women should not be shot in the face. And we shouldn't be turning on our neighbors and our friends in this type of way. It is time for us to come together, work on this together, and do it in a humane way. And that's not what we're seeing right now.
You and I kind of prepped everyone for you that you and I are kind of old school political guys, where, you know, the 80s, where we both agree that, we want good quality schools. We just kind of disagree how we get there, but we work it out because we did understand that both of us had the same end game in mind. And I think you're right. And that's one of the things that's the problem is, like, we can talk about the need for undocumented workers in the ag sector. For God's sakes, they're the ones that are getting the food to the table, for goodness sakes. The fact that these people are willing to come here and clean toilets and, do gardening and watch our kids and work in these restaurants. They want to come here. They want to get the work. There's got to be an easier way. But this is a problem that requires a scalpel, and you're trying to do surgery with a sledgehammer. And that was always the problem with this whole concept, is that as much as people say, and there's a lot of people that are second guessing Trump, that supported him and second guessing him, but this is what he said he was going to do the entire time. He never candy coated it. And now we're actually seeing this policy act out, and it is really disturbing.
Correct. I was a Republican who supported Harrison Walz. And I'm looking at it on the wall. One of the reasons I did so was because of my concern for the rule of law, the Constitution, and the way this is unfolding. Is Trump advertised this, but this was a policy that was good, I think, on a bumper sticker. But I raised concerns about this last year and in 2024 and in 25. And this is not the way this needs to be done. And I'm concerned about how Minnesota comes together when all of this is over with. And I just worry about all Minnesotans, those I agree with politically and those I disagree with. This isn't the way it should be done.
All right. Hopefully nothing bad happens this weekend. I got to tell you the truth. It's not going to be warm here. You and I are from here, and I don't know how long I would want to be outside. I think, what's the temperature supposed to be doing? 12?
Yeah, but I have raised there's some Republicans there's a Republican candidate for governor who's organizing just a horrible event this weekend to inflame the situation. And I'm really worried about what's going to happen this weekend.
Which candidate for governor?
Raul Estrada is a Republican candidate for governor. He is hosting I'll send links to you, but he is hosting a march from Minneapolis, from City Hall to Cedar Riverside. He's advertising it as it's time to Kevlar up event, and really asking for some ugliness. And I don't want to see anyone hurt, but there are people on the Republican side who really want to gas this situation.
Well, and this is okay. So even though the one guy, the influencer, was talking about this, they were saying no, he's not going to be marching over to Cedar Riverside. This must be where they're getting that from. Is Correct. This guy saying we're going to bust through the police barricades and go over and get those people? Sort of mentality. And well, okay, first of all, you do realize how far you're about to go walk at 10 degrees outside. Okay,
Correct.
I don't think you're going to be doing that, but the counter protest is already sounding like it's going to be pretty extreme. I don't know how this is going to go.
I think it's a terrible idea, and this is a situation where Republicans, I think, need to, and those because this person identifies as a Republican and is on stage at debates as one, need to let cooler heads prevail. This is not the type of leadership that's going to solve this problem.
Send me that link, please. I'll make sure I'll get that information out. All right, so you and I are going to step back. I'm actually going to. I'm going to ask, how's your wife doing? Since you are a Vikings fan married to a Packers fan, that you and I texted during that game, and I was like, boy, were those Packer fans really cocky about halfway up into the third quarter, and then things fell apart for them as the Bears came back and won that game. Has your wife recovered?
Here's my frustration with, she is such a good sport. She learned it from her father. She does great upbringing. She's a great sport. She cheered for the Packers. It was a great game. And then when it was over with, she was just able to process and move on, which just frustrates me even more. And there I am trying to gas it. Then we have this experience. I always have these marked on my calendars, but this is the easiest one of these interviews to do because the Vikings are out. So I can just come in and just twist that knife in a little bit into the Green Bay Packer base. I'm not surprised that they lost. But she is a tremendous good sport, which just frustrates me even more.
That was a pretty unfortunate collapse. And okay, we in the Vikings world have complained about kickers in the past. Why can't they find anyone in Green Bay that can kick a damn ball?
I know they can pump out quarterbacks like there's nobody's business, but get a kicker. It was just a back and forth game, and it was good football. And the first person to just stake that flag in the house that it was a good football game was my wife, and kudos to her. But it was a good game, and I don't know if the better team won, but the Green Bay Packers lost, and that's all that matters.
All right, we got 4 games. These are of course the divisional rounds coming up here. We'll start with the first game. We'll just go through all 4 of these. Bills at Broncos. The Broncos, of course, are the number 1 seeds. They got the bye. The Bills went down and had a very impressive win at Jacksonville. And I was kind of stunned by how they managed to hold up there. But, when Josh Allen, their quarterback, when he needs to, he basically can do it. I mean, he is reliable at imploding. He really is reliable at imploding. But when he doesn't implode in a game, he is damn impressive. And that was an impressive win at Jacksonville.
Of course it was. It's not easy to win on the road. And they did. And now the Bills are at the Broncos. And I'm just going to state, I'm not a Sean Payton fan.
Yeah.
So if anyone could get arrested by ICE, I would hope it would be Sean Payton. Because I don't like him. And so, sorry, that was a little heavy, but
we don't want anyone being arrested by ICE, but
in a lighthearted way.
Sean Payton is not very well liked in Minneapolis. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah. And so, but it's going to be a great game. I mean, the Broncos are not a soft team.
They aren't. Bo Nix, their quarterback. There's a little concern about him. Will he be ready to go? I'm gonna say this. Just the way the Bills played, I didn't see a Broncos team that was unbeatable this year. If the Bills play like they played at Jacksonville, I'm going to take the Bills.
Correct. And we're going to get into a slippery issue here is that a couple years ago, my wife and I were on a light rail, and we there were some Bills fans there. And the Bills have lost 4 Super Bowls. The Vikings have lost 4 Super Bowls. I don't want Buffalo to get a Super Bowl before we do. So this is where I get kind of cheap and petty. So I want them to win against the Broncos, but I don't want them to get the Super Bowl.
I'm just going to say, I think you and I are simpatico a little bit on that. We'll get to that. We've got to get to the other AFC game here. So,
yes.
So we're both picking the Bills then on that game.
Yep.
All right. 49ers at the Seahawks. That's going to be a good game. Apparently, oh God, our former quarterback in Minnesota, Sam Darnold, he apparently injured himself in practice, but he says he'll be ready for the game. It's not Darnold, it's the running game. How you stop the Seattle running game, I don't know. And San Francisco they just lost Kittle, their great tight end. He's out now for the rest of the playoffs. I think that's one of those keys you just can't replace. I mean, Kittle is really good, and so I'd be hard pressed to see if not the Seattle Seahawks win that game fairly handily.
Yeah, I think it's going to be the Seahawks. Although I'm rooting for the 49ers, I think your analysis is right. I think even with Darnold's injury, Seattle is just a multifaceted team, and they're very strong. And so I give advantage Seattle, but wouldn't be upset if the 49ers won.
All right. We'll have to see. And if Darnold's injury is more serious, we'll have to, we'll see what happens with that. What I think is the best game of the entire weekend is the next one. It's the Texans at the Patriots. The Texans just showed me something there. They are a good team, and they've got a really, really good defense. And once we get into this point of the year, good defenses beat better offenses. Drake May and the Patriots, I mean, I think it's an amazing reclamation project in Boston area that they brought them back. I can't even comprehend how they brought them back, but they are one of the better teams. That is a hard game to pick.
I know. I mean, the Patriots, this is the best redesign since the big dig in Boston. I mean, they just made that team back over. So I'm going to defer to you. I know who I want to win.
Okay.
It's not the Patriots. I'm tired of New England sports.
I got to tell you the truth. I don't think that after watching the Houston Texans play, I think the Houston Texans are going to win that game. And
I'd like that.
I mean, if that does go, if this goes as you and I think, that's going to be the Texans hosting the Bills for the AFC Championship.
That's a pretty game.
That is a very good game.
Yeah.
I would be okay with that.
Yep.
Okay. Final game is of course, the Chicago Bears, the team that we are very happy to note that beat the Green Bay Packers.
Yes.
They are going to be hosting the LA Rams. And once again, not a bad game here. I don't know. I mean, I think that when you look at the Rams, that I think Stafford's the MVP. I think Stafford is the MVP. I really do. I think he has done a lot with not as good a teams as he usually has. And, I had him and I can say this because I had him on my fantasy football team as my quarterback for many, many weeks. And I got him as my second quarterback because a lot of people overlooked him. The dude just gets touchdowns when he needs to get them. I don't know. I mean, I think if the Bears played the same game they played against the Packers, the Bears are going to get beat badly because I don't think the Rams will take their foot off the gas. But, I mean, I don't know. Maybe that was just enough of a wake-up call for the Bears to realize, well, we got a chance here to get to the NFC Championship game as long as we don't, sleep on the Rams.
Again, I think your listeners are seeing the cheap, petty side of me. Now that the Bears have beaten the Green Bay Packers, I don't want anyone else in the NFC North to succeed, so I want the Rams to win.
So your diagnostics, your analytics of the whole thing is they're stinky poo. I want them gone.
That's it. I think your analysis is spot on. I think the Bears, the Rams could come in, and depending on which Bears team show up. But I just, I don't want another team we had to deal with Detroit last year. We need to send a message that it's us in the NFC North or nobody else.
I will say this. I just do not trust the Bears after that Packers game because, I mean, they looked horrible. I mean, they looked horrible for half that game. And I'm with you. I think the Rams are going to win that game, but not because I have any kind of long simmering hatred for the Bears, but basically because I just don't trust the Bears yet. And if the Bears do come on back, I think it's going to be interesting, but this would mean, and I got to tell you the truth, this would be sensational for the championship games. If we are right on this, if mine goes this way, it's going to be the Rams at the Seahawks and the Bills at the Texans.
Oh,
And that would be a good day of watching football right there.
that's what America wants. That's what I think. I mean, I think that's what America wants, and America deserves that.
Are you just kind of glad it's not the freaking Chiefs anymore, or the Eagles?
Yes. Oh, those teams, and also the Lions. I got to tell you something. That team, I have to tell you something. Those Lions, and I, the Bears have been around a little bit longer, and but I'm really glad the Bears aren't there. I mean, the Lions aren't there. That's the one team that if they won it, and they won it all, I might have a mental breakdown.
No, I've kind of gotten numb to when the Packers win. They haven't won in a while, which is really getting under their skin. But I
feel no pity for them.
None at all. Yeah, I mean, I will say this: of the teams left in the playoffs, I mean, the Bears of the only NFC North team, I don't have that much disdain for them. But yeah, we've had 2 years of Detroit Lions this, Detroit Lions that. Seeing them out of the playoffs is an absolute delight right now.
Yeah, Brock Purdy is from Iowa. Family down in Iowa has shown some support for Brock Purdy. So that's who the 49ers is who I'd like to see come out on top, but we'll see where this goes.
Mean the Rams. You mean the Rams with the Bears?
Yeah, Rams with the Bears, and then the 49ers against the Seahawks. I mean, we got a great game. There's great games coming up.
If the Rams win and Seahawks both win, then it is the Rams hosting the Seahawks, San Francisco for the. Oh God. I don't want to be anywhere near that parking lot or stadium. There will be so many damn fights. It'll be like a minor league hockey game.
I was talking to a friend of mine who's a big Seahawks fan, lives out in Washington. He was telling me that that parking lots in Seattle, the games can get a little, particularly on college football, can get a little rough. And I was surprised that a team that wears teal is that aggressive.
West Coast cities, I think we expect to go out and see the ugliness at the Meadowlands or in Philadelphia, but you go out to the West Coast and there's a nastiness when you get to the sports. Don't go. Dodgers Giants are not a series I recommend anyone going to outside of diehard fans, because that will go south on you real fast.
I'm sure your sponsors on the East Coast appreciated that, just kind of labeling everyone on the East Coast.
Island. I know what obnoxious East Coast is. I lived in Rhode Island for many years. Any call on Indiana and Miami on the college championship on Monday?
I mean, I think it's Indiana.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what I can say. And I don't mind that. No. I don't mind that. College football, but boy, did Miami silence some of their critics.
The SEC is just having a mental breakdown right now, which is I'm enjoying. I kind of am enjoying it. So, Michael, we'll have you back. I really quick here. The girls are gone. I was telling everybody that your book is fan-freaking-tastic. Everyone needs to get this book. Where can they find The Girls Are Gone?
Amazon.com is the best place. On our website, Missing in Minnesota, available on audio and ebooks. And we're getting another printing done. They'll be available on Amazon again soon.
It's fantastic. It's absolutely fantastic. And it's one of the, that book is crazy. And so we haven't revisited that there, but with all the new listeners on Blue Amp, I want to make sure they know The Girls Are Gone. Michael Broadcorp, find the book. Michael, thank you as much as always. We'll talk to you next week, and be safe, my friend.
Be safe to you. Be safe, all Minnesotans. Thank you so much.
Take care. We'll take a break, wrap up the show for the week. When we do return, it is the Matt McNeil Show here on your Friday.
Hey, Chanhassen and Eden Prairie. It's Alex with Buzzcut Mowing. Winter's on its way. Why spend your morning shoveling snow when I can take care of it for you? I provide fast, thorough, and reliable snow removal. Your driveway and sidewalk stay clear, safe, and completely stress-free. Stay warm, skip the back-breaking work, and let me handle all the heavy lifting this season. Visit buzzcutmowingmn.com today to make winter easier, safer, and more enjoyable with Buzzcut Mowing.
Gunstop of Minnetonka reminds listeners that more and more veterans will be returning home over the next few years, and many are local. These heroes have elite military training and valuable professional skills, but they also need jobs. That's why Gunstop of Minnetonka is encouraging all local businesses. Let's make this the year we hire smart and hire vets. For all your complete gun and ammo needs, stop in or call 952-935-2857. Again, that's 952-935-2857 for Gunstop of Minnetonka, saying it's USA all the way.
Greg Bakken here. Like you, I love good, fresh, delicious food. So I want to tell you about this treasure in Roseville called Maverick's Real Roast Beef. Maverick's has the best roast beef sandwiches I've ever had. Made fresh every order. Add fries or onion rings dropped in the fryer when ordered, and you have a winning combination. Maverick's Real Roast Beef has a lot more than roast beef, so check out their website, mavericksbeef.com, or check out their restaurant on Lexington in Roseville.
This is Chad, owner of AM 950. I've been telling you about my friends at Snap Construction, who are arguably the most well-reviewed exterior construction company in the metro. Don't just take my word for it. Take a look at all their reviews online. Winter is the most cost-effective time of the year to complete your construction project. A majority of Minnesotans choose to have their work completed on their home in the summer when they should be enjoying the weather. As a result, the demand for labor in the summer is much higher. The most cost-effective way to improve or restore your home is in the winter due to the lower demand. Right now, Snap Construction is offering an additional 30% off of labor to the AM 950 listeners on your next construction project between now and the end of February. Call 612-333-SNAP and mention AM 950 for an additional 30% off. As always, Snap Construction stands by their work with a lifetime craftsmanship warranty. Don't wait to get a free estimate by calling 612-333-SNAP or find them online at snapconstruction.com. Financing options available.
Next Chapter Booksellers is the perfect destination for indoor winter activities. Cozy up with a book. They have all the bestsellers and new releases. Plus, their booksellers are great at making recommendations. Beyond books, enjoy mind-bending puzzles and family fun board games for those snowy days. And don't miss Next Chapter's in-store events, book clubs, author signings, and children's story time. So stay busy this winter with Next Chapter Booksellers off Snelling and Grand in St. Paul. More at nextchapterbooksellers.com.
Monday warrior, mean strike. Today's Tom Sawyer, mean pride.
It is the Matt McNeil Show. I'm not going to interrupt Geddy Lee. 952-946-6205, 952-946-6205. I want to make sure you understand is that Michael and us talking sports on Fridays is one of the few reasons I've actually been able to stay sane, if you want to know the truth, because this is crazy AF, man. This is crazy AF. Now, Blue Amp, just generally on Fridays, I usually dance into the weekend. I find some song. I show that basically I probably should be in a medical unit being treated as I flail in front of a camera and dance for you. I'm not doing that today. I can't really do that today because, frankly, I'm very scared about where things are going. I am very concerned that tomorrow is a setup. This rally at the City Hall, which once again, apparently they don't have a permit for, which the police have said if they don't have a permit, they're not rallying. Now, will that stop somebody from walking over to Cedar Riverside? And once again, for the people that are not in the Twin Cities, that is what is it? Marquette, the City Hall is on 3rd and 5th.
Yeah.
I think it's 3rd and 5th. You'd have to go up to Washington, to 2 blocks there, and then what? A mile out to it's going to be 10 degrees and windy as heck,
That's
man.
what I was thinking too. How are you going to walk that? There's really no good walking route.
They're going to have to go down Washington Avenue. I think they're going to have to go to do that. But, the police have said they're not going to allow this to happen. They're not going to allow these right-wing influencers and apparently one Minnesota gubernatorial candidate to go over there and start screaming at Somalis. But I'm also wonder, are we looking at a situation where the whole point is to get some counter protesters out there so they can put some fake agitators into the crowd to act as if, they're starting things. I want to reminder this guy, this Jake Long, rather, who is this far right extremist influencer, was out chumming it up with the ICE agents, getting high fives, taking photos with them. What would happen if ICE agents tried to escort him over there? Will the police basically allow that to happen? And will they basically say, you can't stop us from doing this because they're here for the far right influencer? I do hope Walls has that National Guard on call, man. I hope they can get a rapid. I do, because, maybe if the National Guard's out there, that might scare these ice guys away and say, okay, we don't really want to start an armed conflict in Minnesota. Dumbass ice. That's jeez. All right. Native Roots Radio is up. Have a good weekend, Blue Amp. Have a good weekend, Minneapolis, St. Paul. We'll be back on a Monday, MLK Day. Till then, see you there.
Hi, it's Penny from Nightingale in Minneapolis. Since 2012, we've been your go-to dining spot near 26th and Lyndale in South Minneapolis. Indulge in classics like our scallops.